Good morning, everybody. Members of the Advisory Committee on the Recovery of Western North Carolina and Director of for the critical work they're doing to keep our neighbors healthy and well. We all know that the people of Western North Carolina suffered tremendously as Helene swept through. Lives lost, homes damaged, businesses struggling, infrastructure destroyed. The folks out here have rallied to help each other, neighbor helping neighbor, and it has been truly inspiring for all of us to watch. But the extent of the damage, nearly $60 billion, is much more than the people of Western North Carolina can bear. FEMA and the federal government will reimburse us for some of the recovery work, but there are some things that the federal government won't pay for and that the people of Western North Carolina need now. That's why I'm asking the General Assembly for just over $1 billion, $1,070,000, to support immediate rebuilding needs here in Western North Carolina. These funds are urgently needed. There will be an additional appropriation request later in the year for the traditional biennial that happens in July. But these are high priority funds needed in the quarter of this year so that people can get their lives back together. If we do not act, some businesses will be, and we need an entire building before the winter weather comes again in 2025. We cannot miss an entire year of construction. The funds will go to several immediate priorities. First, ensuring that our economy is ready to bounce back for the summertime, particularly when the tourists come back to the region. Two of the most important revenue months of the year for Western North Carolina businesses, especially in tourism, are October and December. October was a near total loss, and December generated just a fraction of the revenue it generally does. It's too early to understand the full economic impact of Hurricane Helene. Hotels, though, can give us an indication. Buncombe County hotel sales were down 74% in October and 57% in November compared to the year before. What we know is that after a major disaster, 43% of small businesses never reopen. We do not want that here in Western North Carolina, and we can take action to prevent that. Let this be our story. Our ambition is businesses the first 2 quarters of this year, they can customers come the if we fail, many businesses will not survive slow cold months, and what these entrepreneurs have built will be lost, and the employees will be out of a job. Taking on additional business debt is simply not the answer for small businesses that are already struggling. So I'm proposing grants for businesses that suffered physical damage or significant economic damage as a result of Helene, as well as grants to small counties so that they can rebuild their downtown and make economic development investments. This past Friday, I was up in Boone, joined with Dogwood Health Trust to stand up a small business grant program for effect. Businesses can seek to help them survive until the summer, but we are anticipating far less of the $30 million that Dogwood and the state have put up. We must invest in the small businesses of Western North Carolina to make sure that the economy comes back stronger than before. The economy includes our farmers. Help restoring their land, recovering from verified uninsured losses to crops, and clearing debris to prevent future wildfires like the wildfire that hit McDowell County last week. I'm proposing that the state step up to fund these efforts because the success of our farmers is critical to our overall economic. Now, the disaster of the hurricane is compounded by the disaster of wildfires. Next, we need to make sure that people have a safe place to live. This has been a priority since day one of my administration with our temporary trailer. But these temporary and hotel rooms are not the permanent solution. People need stability. They need their homes. That's why I have funds to create a Helene home construction and repair program. Lost their job, pay for their mortgages. These can get to assess investments will help us get people into their homes safely and in the long run. We cannot wait. If we do not get these funds deployed as soon as possible, we will miss the building season of 2024, and an entire year of recovery efforts will be lost. As we must also repair our infrastructure. That means private roads and bridges, septic systems, power generators, and more. Last but not least, we must support our children and families. Helene, Stein, students miss critical instructional time. I'm requesting funds for a summer learning program for students who missed a significant amount of instructional time, tuition support for students at Western North Carolina universities, and food bank contributions for families in need for supporting organizations just like the one we are standing in today. That way, we can ensure that our students are set up for long-term academic success. All of these are necessary to building a safer, stronger, and more resilient Western North Carolina, and are needed now. This recovery is going to take a long time, and my administration is in this for the long haul. I know that the legislature is as well. I thank the General Assembly for what it has done so far, but now is the time for us to jumpstart this rebuilding. The General Assembly to pass the state the business of helping people build now.
We have standing behind us as partners in this effort. I can tell you when I leave here, going back, I'll probably be doing some quick laundry at my house, and then I will be going back to Raleigh. We're reviewing the governor's proposed budget and figuring out how we can get these dollars to people who need them the most right now. I want to thank those, man of food, absolutely incredible work. I know as we stand. Thank you for what I believe we'll take some questions, and we definitely look forward to that. But I just want to tell you, I was born and raised in this area. I was a county commissioner prior to this role. There is a very good chance that at the name of people who have lost everything. I know them on a first name basis. I've seen them at the grocery store. I went to them or their kids, and this is very hard. But you're keeping these top in top priority by having events like that and making sure that when we are working together, it is making the best use of the taxpayer and back in here and go the we make partnership we're creating right now get back to try to do as good as we can getting information out, but things are happening in real time. If you know someone who needs help or is not getting the FEMA assistance they need, reach out. If we can't help you, we can sure connect you with someone who hopefully can. I'm sure that stands for the governor's office as well. But I want to thank the governor for having us here, and I'd like to introduce Claire with Manna Food Bank.
Well, thank you so much to the governor. Thank you, Representative Johnson, and thank you to the Western North Carolina Advisory Committee for not only being here today, but for also recognizing the urgent needs of Western North Carolina in the wake of Hurricane Helene. At Manna Food Bank, we have been working around the clock since the storm to ensure that our neighbors get the food and resources they need, especially in our hardest hit communities. Every day I hear from families who have lost everything, from farmers who just aren't sure if they'll be able to farm again, from small businesses that can't afford to reopen, and from farmers who just can't make ends meet like they used to. Manna serves a very, very mountainous community. We have over 220 partners all across Western North Carolina and the Qualla boundary. And one of the common refrains that we're hearing from our partners right now is that people are coming for food assistance who have never needed that assistance before. Working families, seniors, so many people are coming to our partners and saying, I don't have any food in my house and I don't know what to do. Our communities are still reeling from the storm. Our local economies are struggling. And we know that right now people are having to make pretty impossible choices. People are choosing whether to fill their prescription or pay their rent. They're choosing whether to turn the heat on or put gas in their car to get to work. These are choices that no one should ever have to make. At Manna, we are committed to being part of a holistic recovery process. We know that we not only want people to have plates to go home tonight, but make sure that they have a path toward long-term stability. And we all know full well that food insecurity doesn't happen in isolation. People need transportation, they need affordable housing, they need access to economic opportunities. All of these things work in concert, and the support for this is so critical. I've been so moved by the incredible outpouring of love and compassion from our community. Here in Western North Carolina, people take care of each other, they look out for their neighbors. We have this incredibly strong, resilient, and caring community. But the scope of disaster, as you heard from the governor, is too vast. The cost of rebuilding infrastructure, farms, businesses, homes, that cost is too great for Western North Carolina to bear on its own. Government support is truly critical to our efforts to build that road to recovery. We are incredibly grateful to Governor Stein, to the North Carolina leadership, and to the Western North Carolina Advisory Committee, both recognizing the need and also for taking action to ensure those resources needed for recovery are put in place for North Carolina. We urge the General Assembly to approve these critical funds. We all know that the road ahead is going to be long, but with these supports, we know that we can rebuild so that we can emerge stronger together. So on behalf of all of us at Manna, I want to say a special thank you to everybody that has stood alongside Western North Carolina in our time of need. We are incredibly grateful. Thank you all. Right now, thank you. To Matt Calabria, Director of the Governor's Recovery Office for Western North Carolina.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Governor, for today's announcement. Thank you to Claire Neal with Manna Food Bank for the tremendous work that you and your team have done to feed folks in such a difficult time. Again, my name is Matt Calabria, and I'm the Director of the Governor's Recovery Office for Western North Carolina, or GROW-NC. Governor Stein created GROW-NC to coordinate the state's efforts to rebuild Western North Carolina across state agencies and in partnership with local leaders. day-to-day strategic and operational, while also empowering each of the governor's cabinet agencies to do what they do best, whether it be transportation, environmental protection, commercial development, etc. We also provide critical oversight from the governor's office to ensure that our efforts stay on track. The governor's identified 4 key pillars that guide our work: urgency, focus, accountability, and transparency. We must engage in recovery efforts with speed, with precision, and with a plan. And so it's unsurprising to see that this package is being brought forward just 1 month into the governor's administration. In fact, over the past month, I've had the chance to join meetings with Rebuilding Western North Carolina Advisory Committee members. The advisory committee was established on the governor's first full day in office, and I've already learned so much from its meetings and from its members, who are all accomplished business leaders, elected officials, and nonprofit. This budget is born from our conversations with the advisory committee and with residents, from the things that came up time and time again as the most urgent needs. We appreciate all the feedback you're giving us, and we are putting it all into action. Grow NC will play a role in the stewardship of these funds, and again, we will maintain our principles of urgency, focus, transparency, and accountability in ensuring that the dollars are used toward meeting key measures of success. In the end, this recovery depends on resources committed, the thoughtfulness of resource application, and the speed at which those resources can be brought to bear. That's why the governor's community-informed aid package moves swiftly to meet the most urgent needs of this region. Thank you, and I will turn it back to Governor Stein for questions.
We're happy to take questions, and you can address them to any of program from Friday Boone and small business loan program, Dog Trust and the Apple Capital. Those applications are open today. So folks should, if you're a small business owner, you suffered losses, your revenues in a 1 month, you do those applications. Our hopes are out the door. Other a little longer to get up and running, but we know that if we don't get the money now, we can't get it out in the first or second quarter of this year. That's what our goal is. These are immediate needs appropriation requests.
Governor Stein, obviously at the beginning of this, major roads were the biggest concern, but now that we're looking into tourism season picking up, when it comes to smaller areas like Linville or Lake Lure and Chimney Rock, how big is that priority going to be to help some of those smaller roads to get some of those big tourist destinations reopened so the business can come back in?
So, Rock and the state park there. That state park is a wonderful amenity. We all love it, but it is also a source of economic drive for that community. We're going to try to come up with some temporary solution that can get the park reopened this summer. But the reason why in our appropriations request today, we are asking the General Assembly to give us funding for exactly this kind of infrastructure. We need a permanent bridge that can be open. If we start it this year, it won't be ready for next year. So that's what the urgency is. We want everything ready and open tomorrow, but we know the world doesn't work that way. But if we don't act with urgency, it won't be ready in 2025. It'll be 2026 or 2027. That's the unacceptable outcome we don't want.
And follow-up question with that, I know the mayor in Lake Lure has asked for an access road behind Lake Lure. Is that part of this plan that you're proposing right now?
There are conversations among the folks in Lake Lure and Chimney Rock, the Department of Transportation, the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources. It's an idea that is being discussed along with a number of others.
Governor, after speaking with President Trump, how confident are you that money is going to keep coming from the federal government?
I'm very encouraged by the priority that the President brought to Western North Carolina. Outside after his inauguration was to Western North Carolina. He reiterated to me his administration won't forget Western North Carolina. I've subsequently spoken to the National Security Advisor twice and the acting head of FEMA. They are very focused on this. So my hope is that Congress will pass another appropriation bill, another disaster relief bill in March. We are going to be working with our federal delegation to try to get more resources. Obviously, we're grateful for what our congressional delegation did last December, but that was just a start. We need a lot more to help the people of West North Carolina.
Governor Stein, is there still money that's tied up in the General Assembly from before with the proposals that this money is approved?
Well, the General Assembly has appropriated some funds. Some of those funds have gone out. Others are being intentionally doled out over time because that's the way the program was written by the General Assembly. Our objective with these funds are to address immediate needs,